Hello, everybody. It's meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you as we head into the overnight hours. We still have three lines of storms indicated here on hutchesweather.com. Where are they going and what can you expect? What has happened? Gusty winds and some hail are the main threats heading into the overnight hours. Let's go over the latest right here. You're watching Hutch's Weather.
Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
All right, thanks for your trust in your weather information, and thanks again for 70,000 followers on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, click that follow button. I really do appreciate it. Let's take a look. We have a Boeing line segment heading towards Belcourt, a huge thunderstorm warning for this entire line. Now, not everybody along this entire line is going to see the severe weather, but there are areas that are reporting gusts upwards of 70 miles per hour now. We'll go over that. Also, we have another line of storms heading into the Minot area. So if you're in Minot, you've had one round make its way through, another round is on its way. And then as we look out towards Dickinson and down towards the Bowman area and not far from Baker, Montana, some windy thunderstorms are making their way out of that area. We'll go through this and we will look into Montana as there are still more storms making their way through Glendive. Let's go through the latest and we'll go from north to south. This line will be the first to arrive in our area of eastern North Dakota as we go through. So let's get down to it as we head into the Minot area. Now we're going to go ahead and switch over to the Minot radar as we get a look at this backward C shape here. Notice this little thing here? That could be a hook echo heading in toward the Rugby area. We'll analyze the whole thing. But this backward C shape that you see showing up on here is a gusty wind threat that's working its way through. These winds will be coming at you from the west or southwest as you look out towards Botno and up into southern parts of Manitoba as these storms are drifting to the east northeast now in some areas. And then these southern ones are moving a little bit slower and down to the south and east. So huge line. This is a huge thunderstorm warning, but there are individual cells within this main line here that are working their way through. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the warning says. This is a damaging threat, 1 inch diameter hail, and the 70 mile per hour wind potential with these storms. Again, moving east at 44 miles per hour. So as we take a look at this and analyze it for you, we'll go ahead and start with a look at this northern half of the line. So this little area here towards Rugby, moving east at 45 miles per hour. And if you want to take a look at these differing colors here, each color change, this line is a 15-minute segment. That's 30 minutes away from now, 45 minutes, and then an hour. So that gives you an idea. Dunseith, 11:22, Rolette and Belcourt around 11:35. A couple of those numbers are hard to read, so let me pull them over here. St. John, 11:44, Rolla. The storms will be in your area by 11:47. Make no mistake about it, these are very windy thunderstorms. The winds will likely be coming from a major westerly component. So let's say you're camping out at a lake. Okay, you just want to make sure that you get out of things like campers, mobile homes, and manufactured homes and get into something more sturdy. Trees can be felled by gusts over 60 and 70 miles per hour, and that's going to be a main concern of mine for anyone out in the Devil's Lake Basin. So please pay attention to these storms. Now, on the southern half of this huge warning, let's go ahead and analyze that line of storms from, say, Willow City all the way down towards Drake. These are not moving quite as fast. I'm going to put these at about 35 to 40 miles per hour and a little bit more of a east southeasterly direction here. So let's go to 40 mile per hour gusts, 45 mile per hour motion. Benedict 11:21 or about now. Rugby 11:36 and then on towards Balta by 11:42. Knox and Animus, you're on the outside of this storm making its impact towards you. So gusty straight line winds. Now let's go ahead and show you. I do want to take a look at this little notch. You see this little notch that's in the storm right here? Sometimes that can be another little gust front forming on this backward C shape here, or it could be what we would call a hook echo instead of a bow echo. Hook echoes can be associated with rotation in the storm. So let's look at the velocity from the Doppler radar, and this will give us an idea here if there's any shear along this leading edge. I'm not seeing anything too terrible. There is some shear moving up here in that Belcourt area with the storm. That doesn't mean a tornado's on the ground. Dunseith, This area right here, as you're going toward the border crossing north of Dunseith and heading in towards that Brandon, Manitoba area, there's some pretty strong shear right there in that particular vicinity. So again, Dunseith, there's a little bit of shear. I see some reds next to greens, but it's not particularly strong or organized down to the south near Rugby, so that's the good news there. Looking down in the Carlsruhe area, you see a lot of greens and reds next to each other. This is pretty strong motion toward the radar, strong, not as strong motion away from the radar, but in and around Karlsruhe, I do see a little bit of evidence of some rotation along that little leading edge. So what we have is what we would call a bowing line segment. This isn't one thunderstorm, it's a dozen thunderstorms or more along this line. Each of these thunderstorms working together, causing their own burps of gusty wind blowing out. And here we have some very bright winds blowing toward the radar, and then the red would be wind away from the radar. So there is some shear in this line. I cannot rule out a tornado, but the main threat is the gusty straight line winds. How strong have they been? Let's look in Minot. If we look at this little blue icon that's right over Minot, 62-mile-per-hour gusts was recorded. 10:17, so almost an hour ago when the leading edge of those storms made their way through. Mulhall, how about a 74-mile-per-hour gust in your area? Heading in toward West Hope, there was a recording of a 71-mile-per-hour gust as well, both measured wind gusts. So this line heading towards Rugby is going to be it's going to be a two-pay tosser right now as it works its way in. So now let's take a look at what's going on as the storms moving out of Montana are pushing their way in. Here's a look at the Bismarck radar. These storms here do have some shear as well. Now the wind in green is motion towards Bismarck and the wind in red is away. So on the north fringe of this, we do have some shear with this storm working its way in that general direction. The first line of storms that's now moving out towards Killdeer and beyond did cause 65-mile-per-hour gusts, and this one says 65-mile-per-hour gusts as well. That's Grassy Butte, not Grassy Buddy. As we take a look at what's going on, these are windy thunderstorms pushing their way in towards the Medora area as well. And you can see this backward C shape, and it's pushing right through Medora as we speak, heading towards Belfield. That's, of course, on that Highway 85 corridor that takes you down in towards South Dakota and Bowman. Moving out of Baker, Montana, we got 72-mile-per-hour gusts with deep cells working their way out of that area. How about 79-mile-per-hour gust measured, and that was 1 mile southeast of Baker at 10:37, so a little less than an hour ago. And that storm is now pushing towards you in Bowman County. As we look at Ekalaka there, hi, family in Ekalaka. Hope things are going good there. There's some windy thunderstorms there. Now, you notice we're right at the edge, the fringe, radar no man's land out here. Now, let's go to the Glasgow radar and see if we can see what's heading in towards Glendive right now. Taking a look at the radar for the entire region is what this update's going to be about. I'm going to do a quick little forecast update as well. If you do have a question, part of Hutch's weather, the beautiful part of Hutch's weather is you get that opportunity to ask a question. I look tired because there's a lot going on in life right now, and weather is part of it. So, indeed, I'm a little on the tired side. I apologize for that, but I'm going to do my best for you. Will the second line end up hitting Fargo in the morning hours? There is a chance of that, Tiffany, the way it looks. What's going on with the forecast? What time will it arrive in Beltrami? Pam, thanks for your question. Cody, when do we get a break? When does Hutch get a break? Indeed. I'm concerned about it just like you are. Let's get to it. I want to answer your questions because you're up and you're worried about the storms. Val, thanks for being here. Thanks for your support always. I really do appreciate each of you doing that. Now, as we take a look at the Glasgow radar, let's see if it'll switch over here for me. There it goes. The storm's exiting Montana. Now, what you're going to see here is a nice little line of well, basically very heavy rain, but on the backside, there's still some gusty winds in association with these storms blasting into Dawson County, Sydney. So, this is a second or third line making its way through some of these areas, and that's going to cause some wind concerns. So, here's what we know. I'm going to go ahead and put on the composite radar. This is a lot of smoothing, but we've talked about this before. This leading edge, this is going to move right along the international border. This is a bowing line segment, a very gusty line of storms that's causing 70-mile-per-hour winds. Another Boeing line segment on its heels is coming right behind it, and it's chugging into Minot right now. That one's been producing 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts as well. And what's blowing out of Montana has been no picnic. And in fact, the picnic basket might be airborne at this particular time. So we have three thunderstorm clusters working their way across North Dakota, heading through the 11 to 12 o'clock time frame. Where are they going? Let's go right to your forecast. And again, thank you so much for following on my YouTube channel as well. Hey, YouTube, I got to tell you something. I want you to hit the subscribe button to my YouTube channel. It's free, and helping Hutch's YouTube channel grow is helpful for Hutch as well. So if you haven't done so yet, head over to Hutch's Weather on YouTube. The beautiful thing there is on your big screen TV in 1080i, I'm broadcasting in 1080i, so you'll get that opportunity to watch me on the big screen. I see I have some folks watching. Thanks for the update, says Michael. Ethan, good to have you on board. Svea, this storm is not going to reach me, but I jumped on to boost your YouTube and wish you very well. Thank you so very much. Now, we've got the questions answered. Let's go to the question that regards the forecast for the overnight hours. Real quickly, some of the models are updating as we speak, so I'm going to go ahead and get you to the very latest one here. This is a look at an hourly updated forecast, and you see 1, 2, 3 little clusters of storms on this, which does bode well. But a lot of times what this hourly updating forecast does is you're going to see it kind of revert in the first few frames here to what it was forecasting later. Look at all three of these lines converging into one huge cluster of thunderstorms and merging its way toward the Red River Valley. 08Z, you got to subtract 5 hours from that. That's 3 a.m. moving through Devil's Lake, moving through Valhalla, Rock Lake, and, well, can do. And this storm can do wind gusts. We know that's for sure. Now, will this be the way it transpires? I don't know that I believe they're all going to congeal into one solid line. This has them moving into, let's say, the Grafton Park River area, as well as you folks in Cavalier. Look at the timestamp here. That's 10 minus 5. That's 5 a.m. So 5 a.m., these storms are in Grand Forks all the way up to Pembina, pushing into Kitson County. 5 a.m. Going to be a long night for Hutch. I'm going to look a little more tireder. Pushing into Fargo, backward C shape. The watch that's in effect is in effect until 3 a.m. We'll see if another watch is added onto it. My gut tells me maybe, at least for the extreme western reaches into Minnesota, I think that wind threat will remain. Let's go ahead and carry this through the Fargo area. Boom, they're through. Notice a decrease in the intensity on this model as we cross into the 6 a.m. time frame. Then it continues to decrease in intensity. Notice the reflectivities here are not as red, more yellows and greens showing up here as we go into the mid-morning hours. So that's the way this model looks. Let me take a look at one other updated model. Let's go with one we haven't looked at yet. Let's look at this one. This is a good one. This one was updated here not that long ago. Here we got one cluster in Canada, another one here. You can tell there's a northerly shift to the solution on this model. Okay, so that's not necessarily how things are panning out, but we can look at it, and it keeps three individual clusters for a while. The latter two congeal into one. So there does seem to be some consensus that these things may congeal and head into the Devil's Lake area right there. So if you're in Starkweather, if you're up here to the north as you go up towards that Walhalla area, these storms will be approaching in the 3 to 4 a.m. time frame, rocking their way in toward Grand Forks by 5 to 5:30 a.m. as you're getting ready for your day in Fargo. It looks like a 6 a.m. ETA on this one. Morning, windy, thunderstorms possible. Will they still be 70 mile per hour wind gusts? It's not entirely likely that that's going to be the case, but it's not impossible either. So I do think we'll have the energy to see these things still be burping out some nasty gusty winds all the way until we get to the 7 to 8 o'clock time frame before they start, fizzling out just a little bit as they head towards, well, everybody's favorite Rainy Lake area up here in northern Minnesota, and then continuing to decrease in intensity as we go through. That is your forecast update. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. One more look at that radar before I say sayonara and get a little rest here before these storms start making their way into our neck of the woods. Here's what we have going on. A Boeing line segment heading into Belcourt right now with a history of 70 mile per hour winds. If you're in Belcourt, Rolette, Rugby, these storms are quite nasty. A very, very defined bow echo. Do you see that? Think, pretend Hutch is using a bow and arrow. Boom, right there. Okay, you're bending the bow back. This is westerly winds coming out of this storm that's causing this. So as the rain and the hail come out, it causes a gust of wind to surge out ahead of the storm. That causes this part of the storm to accelerate. It's moving at 40 to 50 miles per hour as well. You're not going to have a lot of time. It's not going to take a lot of time to head its way on out toward the Can-Do area. So Rugby, Towner, gusty winds pushing through your area on their way to Belcourt, Munich, Can-Do, Leeds, as well as parts of Benson and Ramsey counties here in the next few minutes. So dangerous thunderstorms with gusty wind. The main threat, the hail size seems to be tapering off. I'm seeing fewer hail reports from these storms now in the last hour. The severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for this cluster of storms heading into the Minot area seems to be tapering off just a pinch. Let's go to the Minot area radar here and let that load up for just a second. This line of thunderstorms here has this backward C shape to it, so it's still going to be very gusty. And the National Weather Service says it's moving off to the east at about, wow, 45 miles per hour, 55-mile-per-hour gusts in there with some quarter-inch diameter hail from that puppy as it works its way up to the east, right into Medora and into Belfield. Now, do you see this little bite taken out of the storm right there? That could be some rotation moving right over the Belfield area. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that as we head over and look at velocities. I do want to pull up the Bismarck radar for that one. It's a little bit farther away from the one I was using. So let's see if we can get some data from Bismarck popping in. Dickinson, you're now under a thunderstorm warning just issued by the National Weather Service. Goes out there to the Hebron area for Hebron brickmakers, and let's take a look at what's going on with that warning. The National Weather Service says you could get 3/4 inch diameter hail and 60 mile per hour winds from that storm as it blows its way into the Stark County area, the Dickinson area, also out towards McKenzie County. So Kildare, you're in the path of that storm. I want to focus on this little bright green motion towards Bismarck next to bright red. There is some strong spin or shear in the storm right here, and that one, not necessarily indicating a tornado's on the ground. It's just a dangerous area with this storm. Very strong winds toward Bismarck right here. How fast? Oh, it just got stronger as well. So we see brighter reds here next to brighter greens. That's a pretty intense rotating couplet. It's on its way toward the Kildare area here. So here's the rotating part of the storm. Here's Kildare, and that's the way it's moving. Let's go ahead and erase that, put my crayon away, and now we're going to look at the line path. How far is that rotation from the Kildare area? It's about 20 miles, and it's moving at, it says 77 miles per hour. Do you see that? Do you think it's moving at 77 miles per hour? That means it could be in the Fargo area in the Red River Valley in about, well, 3.5 hours. I don't think it's moving quite that fast, but let's just say this 60 mile per hour gusts will be possible. There is some rotation with that particular storm right here that's pretty strong. This is at least, at the very least, a what we would call an RFD or rear flank downdraft on the back of this thunderstorm that's making its way right along the Highway 200 corridor there. Some very tight rotation. You see, it does not say anything about a tornado possible with this particular storm, but if there was going to be a tornado, that would be one area I would anticipate being a problem with that particular storm for you folks out in the western part of the state. Down in Bowman here and Rame, we do have some wind gusts here reported at 10:55 a little bit ago of 72 mile per hour winds near Marmouth. Let's see if we can get to the Rapid City radar and see what we're showing up with this particular bad boy up here to the north. So let me see. Okay, here it goes. So as that loads in, not a lot of shear. It looks like the Amadon area here picking up a 60 mile per hour wind gust measurement there. So a little bit of unorganized shear or spin in that. Gusty straight line winds, the main threat tonight. In Dickinson, batten down the hatches. Make sure you have anything on the west side of your house, the winds will be coming at you from the west, west northwest, west southwest, but mainly a westerly component to those wind gusts that will be pushing towards you. So if you happen to be camping out at Medora or anywhere in, let's say, South Hart out here by the Dickinson area, anywhere near the reservoir or the dam, if you're in a camper That wind coming at you from the west, that means if your camper's facing north south, you're going to be more susceptible to some tipping and stuff. So think, make sure that you do seek shelter and stay away from windows. Trees can fall on your camper too. So if you have a tree off to the west of you tonight and you're in a camper, I would get out of a camper like that and find sturdy structure if I could, as these storms approach. So that's what's going on. Your temperatures are still very sultry out here in the Red River Valley. After temperatures kiss that 90-degree mark at 77 in Fargo, 75 in Grand Forks, and it's highly humid as well. As dew points are in the 70s out there. That's air you can wear, very sticky. A lot of fuel for the thunderstorms heading into the nighttime hours. So that's a look at what's going on. Here's a look at those watches that are in effect right now as we take a look at this before I head out. We got severe thunderstorms up and down the western and central part of North Dakota, three lines that are working their way eastward. It's going to be quite a while, as we showed you, closer to the 3 to 5 a.m. time frame before they make their way into the northern Red River Valley first, closer to, well, 5 to 7 o'clock as they work their way through the Fargo area in the southern valley, if they do. Hail, not the main threat from these, although there could be some hail. Gusty straight line winds will be a problem, though, as these storms make their way towards your area. Here's a look at the watches that are in effect until 3 o'clock in the morning. Let me just verify that the National Weather Service has not extended those. Uh, Here we go. 3 a.m. is the expiration time of this watch for hail that could be as large as 3 inches in diameter and 90 mile per hour winds with the storm in spots. So we'll keep you posted right here. I'll keep my eyes on the storm as we do take a look here in the Devil's Lake Basin. The leading edge of the storm here on Devil's Lake, 60 miles away. It's moving at 40 miles per hour. So Hutch is going to guesstimate 1 a.m. Arrival, 1 a.m. arrival in the Devil's Lake Basin in the Devil's Lake area. These storms moving out of Dickinson here are a ways away. So let me see. I'm gonna have to do it this way. So let's go measure it from the Dickinson area. You're on in a warning right now, but if we go just to your south here, let's go. I think I'm clipping some stuff here. Let's go here. Yeah, I don't like the way that's doing that. Okay, so let's go. Sorry about that. There we go. Now my measurement tool's working. This is, well, of course, moving into Dickinson. It's 100 miles away, a little bit more than that from the Mandan area right now, and that's moving at, well, the analysis said 70 miles per hour. I think it's moving more at about 50 miles per hour. You're looking at 2 hours, so that's 137 or so moving into parts of eastern Morton County by that time. So that's what's going on right now. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Let's do one more quick check for questions to see if we got any. Betty says, how is the Ada area looking? It's going to be very, very early in the morning. Storms hopefully will be weakening by the time they push into your area, but I'll keep my eyes on things here as we go through the overnight hours. How about Carrington? Yes, you'll be in the path of these storms in Carrington. I cannot predict what town it hits or what town it doesn't hit. As you know, sometimes the south side of town gets everything and the north side of town gets nothing. So that's it. But your hair looks perfect, it says. Well, you're welcome. Thank you very much, Jamie. I did comb my hair this morning, but I haven't paid much attention to it later. Ellendale checking in. Anything your way? It does look like there is a cluster of storms, as you can see on the south side here. Those could have some impact to your particular area. We will just have to see. Typically, with storms like this, it's the southernmost storms that'll have the best chance at some sizable hail. And what you're noticing is any storm that has direct south winds blowing into it here, you see these ones with the blue reflectivities on it, those will be the stronger ones. So your area may have a chance for some hail, but it's going to be quite a ways away from you. As you can see, we're 100 miles away from Bismarck plus and another 100 miles away from the James River Valley. So that's a good couple hundred miles away moving at 50 or 50 miles per hour. You're still looking at about 4 hours before they arrive in your general vicinity. So rest easy, Linda, and thank you so much for watching. Lisa, how about Thief River Falls? I'm hoping things are weakening substantially by then, but I will be here to keep you updated. Are these storms going to lessen with hail as they move east? Yes, the hail threat will diminish a bit. However, that was based on the models that we just looked at. The intensities of the reflectivities go down. but we will still have that wind threat with these storms with that backward C shape that we're seeing. I don't know if they'll remain to be 70 miles per hour. That remains to be seen. Is Tioga out of danger now? So it does look like some parts of in the extreme northwestern part of the state here. If we zoom in to the radar, where you see Crosby and Mohall and points west out towards Plentywood, Montana, even out towards Sydney. You can still be extremely gusty on the backside of these storm systems. That's called a wake low behind them. That lowering pressure that's more in that counterclockwise circulation there can draw in more gusty winds that mix down from the upper atmosphere. So, yeah, gusty winds could still be there, but as far as a true severe thunderstorm with large hail and stuff, the northwest quadrant of North Dakota seems to be a little quieter right now. Let's see if I turn the radar off here. There we go. Boom. You can still see all counties are still in the severe thunderstorm watch right now. Park River, what time are you looking at? 5 a.m. Thank you. And Ashley, that's a nice little nap for you. So hopefully you can get some rest, and we'll see about the risk of anything severe out in your area. Tornado is not the main threat tonight, although I can't rule one out or an embedded spin up, but the main threat's going to be the gusty straight line winds. Thanks so very much. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson, wishing you the very best. Heed the warnings, pay attention to them as they make their way through. I'll be back with an update just a little later. For now, have a wonderful night. Stay safe, stay informed, and thank you so very, very much for watching Hutch's Weather. Again, let's see here. Make sure that you follow me on Facebook, as 70,000 have. Thank you so very much to those who have, and we'll talk again soon.